Second.
that? Yes. We don't need, we need to go out of session, we don't need.
We need a motion to go out of session.
have to go back in.
Thought you already made a motion about it.
They did.
Okay, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
He was making one to come back in
Come
session.
back in.
That puts us into regular session.
Are you ready to resume the meeting?
Yes.
I think so.
10:19 on June 29, 2023, Policy Procedure Committee. We are back in regular session. Would you call the roll, please, Amanda?
Ducat.
Yes.
Barron's.
Here.
Alt.
Yes.
Awful. Whitlow.
Yes.
Sure.
Yep. Next on our agenda is committee chair reports. We'll begin with Mr. Barron's on the management committee.
We'll probably finalize the tile project, I believe it's done, and take other reports.
Okay. Ducat, ARPA committee.
Just normal meeting at ARPA.
Okay. Mrs. Awful, Health Committee.
We'll have our regular reports.
Mr. Ducat, Tax, Zoning, and Planning.
Regular reports, and we'll have a little bit of discussion on DevNet. And then getting ready for the special meeting that I let all the members know about.
Okay, Mr. Whitlow, Judicial.
Pretty much the reports, plus trying to work with Gilman and make him understand that they need to probably pay for their dispatch fee to go along with the rest of the county, but I'm banging my head against the wall so far.
You get your head bruised by then.
Sheriff was working on getting his department, you know, people moving around, that's been moving around, leaving and things like that, and he's think he's getting there.
One of the things that we could consider, and I'm not sure that I'm in favor of it, but one of the things that we could consider is towns that have a law enforcement contract, that fee could be included in there. That might be something you'd want to think about, or at least discuss it in the judicial committee, and make some recommendation accordingly if possible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm in favor of doing it.
Right.
I really don't think I am, but I have.
An idea, something to discuss.
Okay, Mr. Barron's, Finance.
I assume we're gonna start getting ready for budget hearings.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to figure out where we're gonna find enough money to operate next year.
Oh, did you know? Paul is gonna give us a $2 million grant.
Who is?
Paul.
Oh. Well, he could do it, I guess. Charlie?
Blank check.
Highway?
I understand that you have an agreement, operating agreement with Gary, that has to be completed. He told me that on the phone.
That's great.
He's supposed to be working on, he's talking about an agreement between Ford County and Iroquois County, and equipment and so forth. I told him I'm receptive to us having an agreement like that. He said he was gonna put something together and send it over. I haven't received anything yet,
I
so.
thought he had put it together with you and that would be brought up. He said it would be brought up.
If he gets something over to me or to you, I'll share it with you as soon as I get it, but I haven't received anything from him yet, so.
I'm confused on that then.
Yes, as you probably know, he's having an event over at Green Acres Hunt Club today.
Well, you better get there in a hurry, you're
You
gonna
know,
like for a
I'm
shot.
not able to go. I've got IDA meeting that starts at 1 o'clock here, so I'm out of luck. If you're going, talk to him about it.
I'm not going.
Okay.
I did make the arrangements to go, so I don't suppose I can. Figured we'd have this meeting.
They're gonna have a nice lunch, I know that.
Well, I've changed my mind.
It's free.
Also, I think I'll visit with the committee about still changing our meeting date to Thursday,
I think-
late morning.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Because of my first straw poll on it, I had 100% in agreement. And there's been 2 others decided since that, and I haven't understood the rationale in it. I do think it'd be a good thing to do with Gary coming so far and wanting to go to those meetings. And he's got ties, things to do back home. So the least we could do is be a little more cordial in our acceptings by having the meeting on a comfortable date for him.
Yep.
The other thing I might discuss with the meeting is I'm still positive about a memorial of some kind for Joel, what he meant to our county and what he did for us. And the other point is, the building we operated out there, it really doesn't have a name or an address that I see anywhere on it. And why can't we combine the two and put something very nicely in front of the building that shows what the building is for, and a memorial to one of that past employers. Thought that'd be something to be brought before the county board someday.
I think it's a good idea to explore, and all for it.
The other thing is financing of it.
There's that.
Everything runs on money, including even that.
That's news to me.
News to you. Hell, I don't know if anybody's looking for more money than you are, even when you got so much.
Never have enough.
Notice that, you're another Rockefeller thing.
Right.
Absolutely, never have enough. Okay, let's move on. Chairman comments, we'll forego that today. Update on sexual harassment training. We were 87% a month ago.
We're 91% now.
91%, wow.
The other 9 are gonna flunk it anyway.
We're setting new records.
Most of what's left, there's just a random array of people that are left that need to complete it and turn it in. Some contracted part-time employees, there are some county board members that need to get it done.
County board members.
Yeah, I got a few on there that need to have it done. But 91% is good, that's the goal. So Amanda's idea of handing out information sheets with payroll bumped it up quite a bit, so we'll be looking to do that again.
Okay, next on the agenda is a review of the county code book. Everybody should have received an email about this, along with the attachment of the county code book. And it's a big book, it's a lot in it, it's gonna take a long time to get through it.
Can't believe you didn't want to print off 600.
It was last approved by the county board 9 years ago. So we're coming fast upon the 10th anniversary. It's well past time for us to review and update that book. I was not intending that we would get too deeply into it this morning. I wanted to make everybody aware of it, answer any questions that you have, and maybe take a brief overview of what is in the book and why it's important and why we need to be doing what we're doing. I don't know how many of you can see it. Jill's putting up on the screen the book, which I think is going to be the best way for us to operate as we go through the review of it.
Can you make the letters a little bigger by any chance? With these old eyes?
The way to do that is-
Glad I can see good.
Over here. You've got pretty much covered that.
Having trouble with the back of my head.
I know, I'm gonna start over there.
Yeah, because you're in my way.
Yeah.
You big head.
Nice, yeah.
All I can say is that if you
Oh,
thought,
yes, perfect, thank you.
if you thought that the project to review the policy and procedure manual took a long time, thanks, sir. Ordeal, this is gonna be work. We have to do it.
Sure.
This, the code book is the Bible that we operate from. It's the final word in what we do. It's related to state statutes, it's related to the procedures that we as a county board have to follow and adhere to. And it covers all the other activities of the county government.
When was this last updated?
In 2014.
It's time.
I'm sure that our county clerk would be happy to tell you of all of the different things that have occurred since then and need to be updated in the book, changed and so forth to make it current. But I think the best way is for us to look at it from the standpoint of going through it, page by page, if you will, to understand what's in it and to, I think, find out what things are relevant and what are irrelevant, what needs to be changed and what doesn't need to be changed. I think there's a lot that's in there that probably doesn't need to be changed. Maybe some of it need to be updated. Some of it does need to be changed. Some of the authority that is granted to the county board chairman is outlined in there. This makeup of the different committees and so forth. Talks about the makeup of the county board in there as being 20 members, and we reduced it to 16. That's just an example of one minor thing that needs to be changed. So that being said, I have a copy of the book that I will bring to every meeting, and there's a copy, Brian has a copy in her office. I believe those are the only two real full printed copies that we have available. The copy that I have, I keep in the chairman's office next door here with me all the time, so anytime someone wants to look at it, they can go to either place, along with what was emailed. Every county board member was emailed a copy of this a number of years ago, and I don't know how many still have it on their machines, but if you didn't have it on your machine, you have it now. So, my advice would be to, when you have some time to go through it and look at everything that's in it, just take a couple minutes here to go through what some of the things are that's in it, so you get some idea of what we're looking to do. What have you got up there? Is that that's the preface page? Yeah.
3 pages.
And that basically is a description of what's in here, and that, I think reading through that is gonna provide everybody with a pretty good idea of what this was all about. There's some history here, and so forth. It talks about when this one, the 2014 issue was prepared, apparently there was a company called Municipid that played a role in it. And I know that a number of you were on the county board at that time. Jed, you were here, Lyle was here, I was here, Charlie was here at that time, so. Some of us, and there's a couple board members that were here at the time that aren't here this morning, but, it's all, like I said, this is the Bible that we operate under, so we need to know what's in here, and we need to get it all brought up to date. If you look on the table of contents, real quickly, you can see all the different things that are covered in here. In chapter 1 is called General Provisions. Chapter 2 is called Administration, which includes the county board, the boards and committees, officers and employees, and so forth. There's a chapter 4 on alcohol and liquor, which includes all of our activities there. Chapter 6 covers animals. Chapter 8 covers buildings and building regulations. Chapter 10 covers civil emergencies, including the Emergency Management Agency. Chapter 12 is communications, which includes the ETS board. Chapter 14 is on courts. Chapter 16 covers environment, which includes chronic nuisance properties. We've had some issues in the past with some properties where there were nuisances, and so again, how we handle those would be largely you go back to this to see what you can do and can't do. Chapter 18 is fire prevention and protection. We discussed that this morning on this ban, and includes a section on fireworks. Chapter 20 is food service establishments. It talks about permits, inspections, and so forth. That involves the health department. Chapter 22 is on health. Chapter 24 is on law enforcement, covers the sheriff's department, the merit system, the merit commission. Chapter 26 is libraries, the law library. 28 is motor vehicles and traffic, motor vehicle races and stunts are included, lots of things like that.
Excellent.
Chapter 30 covers parks and recreation. 32 is planning and development. 34 is solid waste. 36 is taxation. 38 is utilities. And in the appendix, we have zoning districts, and all kinds of things related to zoning, subdivisions. So there's a lot in here. As you can see, there's a section on referencing state laws and so forth. So this is a big deal. And like I said, it's something that we need to get updated and so forth. So what I would suggest is that maybe we could set ourselves a goal as to how we want to proceed with this thing, how much we want to cover at any one time. Maybe the chapter on the county board and so forth would be something to think about doing for the meeting that we have coming up at the end of July, the end of July. Does that sound reasonable, or is that too much?
So that's how much it is. Here's that event.
That's 30 pages. If I'm looking at this right.
Might as well start
Is
somewhere.
that a reasonable goal?
Sure.
Depends on what else is on the agenda.
Between now and then, it's hard to say. Things come up and things go away.
Hiring somebody.
John?
Last month when we started here, we weren't thinking about a burning ban. Right? So we spent a lot of time on that this morning.
I mean, it's a goal.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, is if we have a goal, I mean, that way, if we have an opportunity, which I hope each one of you will have, to go through the thing between now and then, and with that goal in mind.
Sure.
If we don't achieve it, you haven't lost anything, we'll pick up where we left off the following month. But there's a lot here, and I think the more ambitious we become, after we get through with our review of all this, then I think we have to have the state's attorney take a look at it and approve everything that we're doing, and then it should be something that we can send to the full board for final approval. Okay?
Sounds reasonable.
Sounds good.
When some of the issues in there, or the sections in there could be answered like the sheriff. I saw one that sounded like it was almost all of him in that one.
Yep.
I mean, others the same way, finance the same way.
Yep.
And we hand them out to various,
We're setting the rules for like the finance department so.
The part like for the sheriff, I would think it would be a wise thing if the sheriff was here when we have that discussion and so forth.
I think it'd be wise if we had it beforehand, it could give us a dry estimate of what he thought should be changed.
Well,
It'd help us.
yeah, I agree. That's what we're gonna, if we say next month we're gonna cover the part on law enforcement, then we're gonna.
Same way with finance. Finance manager can do that.
I agree. That's what I have in mind, that they'll be here. We're the ones that are reviewing it though, and we're the ones that are deciding what's gonna be in there.
And sure, like their recommendations before I reviewed it.
Wrong with that?
I guess he wants us to go through, review it, and then bring our suggestions, and they'll be here with their suggestions, and we'll discuss all the suggestions.
Take 2 hours.
Well, that's what it takes, right?
We may have to do each part a little bit differently. I think as we go along here, we can kind of go over some of that and say, okay, next month we're gonna talk about this part. How do we wanna go about it, okay? Cause I'm not sure that we wanna have anything set in stone as to how we're gonna do everything, cause there's some parts in here that are different from others. I would prefer that we say, okay, we're gonna do this and that. So if we start out like we're saying here, next month, I think everything in there pretty much has to do with what we as a county board, how we operate and how we wanna operate, so. And I think our discussion on that will serve as a guide if we find that we need to have some additional input from other people, we can identify that when we get there.
So the county board is just division 1 and 2? Is that what we were doing?
Chapter 1 and 2.
Okay.
Chapter 1 is very short.
Okay.
Shouldn't be any problems there.
Okay, so we have our assignment,
Yes, we do.
we have our homework assignment.
Yes, sir.
We can move on.
Okay?
Okay, let's move on.
All right. Next on our agenda for this morning is appointments. We're gonna be appointing Brenda Burnett to the Board of Health. I don't have any others at the moment.
I'm glad she agreed.
She has agreed to accept that appointment.
Must be somebody about, like, I don't know.
Board of Health meets,
I know her.
the Board of Health meets
She's a
next
lawyer.
week.
Okay.
Here in town. My lord.
Our Board of Health meets next week.
Yes, on the 5th.
And I suggested to her that she come to that meeting.
Oh, the Board of Health, I'm not sure. I don't think yet.
Next Board of Health meeting is on the 10th.
On the 10th.
I suggested that she come to that meeting, even though her appointment won't be official until the 11th.
Okay, good.
Okay, so you know who she is. If she
Yes.
comes in there, you can introduce her to the board and all that.
I
sort of
will do
thing,
that.
and explain to her that the appointment was going to be made the next day on the 11th. Okay?
Say that again.
Her appointment is gonna
On
be
the
official
11th.
on the 11th.
Don't yell, I just wasn't listening.
I'm sorry.
If you share her contact information with me, I can reach out to her and get her acquainted with our schedule and
What's your
whatnot.
place?
Chairman.
I'm
Does
just
she need to
letting
be
you to
there?
know that I suggested to her that she should come to the Board of Health meeting on the 10th.
Susan?
Even though the appointment will not be official until the 11th. So she's not gonna be able to vote on anything or whatever, but she can get
Susan's husband.
acquainted
Okay.
with the board and the board's procedures and all that.
Thank you.
Okay? And then you have a meeting in August
Uh-huh.
on your budget, so she'll be already
Oh.
a part of the board and ready to go, okay? Correspondence, I have some correspondence here. Andrews Engineering sent us something. Wonder what that could be. But it has to do with Donovan.
Oh, I got news on Donovan. They thanked me, I saw them last week, they're from 12 PSI to 50
Yep.
PSI throughout the building now, throughout the town.
Has to do with Donovan.
No, it's not at all.
You know, she just pulled one.
It wasn't. I'm telling you.
We get that at least once every year. Saying that the landfill up there is,
You can stick your hand.
must be okay.
This maintenance guy, he ran as soon as they actually sent the real test in to the EPA.
And we've asked him to do a pipeline survey.
He can stick his hand,
Pipeline surveys from what company, Chairman?
BP,
My office takes care of that. We get a copy of that as well. We respond on a countywide basis.
good. That's one less thing I
I
have
lied
to
to
do.
him about all their piping.
I think which office got,
I think all four.
which office, EMA or public health?
No, that's well taken care of in all lives.
Okay, that brings us to the claims. Here they are. In addition to the claims that were sent to you by email, we also have another one for $175 from EMA, service contract that Mr. Stacy paid with his own money, and he's asking us to reimburse him.
No money back, he's out.
I vote no.
Yeah, he's on his own.
Dang.
A little harsh, huh?
Guess I'm not going, guess I'm not gonna have a booth out here.
Can't be fun at the old meters.
Sheesh.
Didn't we go over this at the one meeting? That all these are owned by, all these landfills are owned by one company out in Arizona?
You think so?
Well, we've talked about this, and all this is a mailbox out there. Who owns them all? So it's,
You're probably jealous that you.
This is your.
I'd like to own them, they're filling them up now after they're filled up. It's pretty interesting now.
Okay. We're gonna talk about the claims. Passing around the claim for the $175.
I move we pay the claim.
I second it.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any other questions about the claims, comments? Seeing none, would you call the roll, please, Amanda?
Ducat.
Yep.
Barron.
Yes.
All.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Stern.
Yep, do we have any old business to come before the committee this morning? Do we have any new business? No new business? Good.
I move to adjourn.
All right,
Second.
second by Mr. Barron, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. 10:45
It's just
a.m.
annual, thing that has to get sent out by every village.
Uh.